Teams coming out onto the park here at the Watersheddings, and this delayed quarter-final of the Silk Challenge Cup. The team news tonight for Oldham: number 1's Gibson, number 2's Bloem, number 3's Tyra, number 4 Rapati, number 5 Cocker, number 6 Martin, number 7 Kerry, number 8 Solomona, number 9 Bates, number 10 Shields, number 11 Sherratt, number 12 Olsen, and at number 13 Russell. Number 14 is Stret, and at number 15 Tapaya. And Bradford at full strength tonight, except for Derek Fox, and good news there that Derek will be back in action tomorrow night, that's Thursday. But the Bradford team tonight: number 1 Roger Simpson, number 2 Tony Marchant, number 3 Steve McGowan, number 4 Daddle Shelford, number 5 Tony Anderson, number 6 Neil Summers, number 7 Dave Watson, number 8 David Hobbs, number 9 Brian Noble, number 10 John Hamer, number 11 Roy Powell, number 12 Carl Fairbank, and at number 13 David Heron. Number 14 is Trevor Clark, and at number 15 Paul Medley. And the referee for this quarter-final of the Silk Challenge Cup, Mr David Campbell. And of course the prize tonight, after tonight's result, the winners into that semi-final, and the draw: Leeds versus Widnes or Hull Kingston Rovers, Bradford Northern or Oldham versus Wigan. So a good prize. Very, very bitter cold night here at the Watersheddings, as snow starting to come down, very, very fine snow, as the two teams, captains there in the middle, shaking hands with the referee. And obviously Bradford need to be on the metal tonight. Oldham with 1 or 2 good tactical people: Wally Gibson, signed from Huddersfield at the beginning of the season. But Bradford need to get into this game very, very early on, get some points on the board. And Ian Sherratt back after an absence, ex-Bradford Northern player. He'll obviously be looking for a big game tonight, as David Hobbs starts this quarter-final. It's a good high ball. Ball well taken there, as the tackler's up very, very quickly. Roy Powell. James Bloem, the number 2, the winger there. Makes good yardage. Little darting run there from the acting half-back. That was a good run by Ivor Rapati up to the halfway line. So Oldham, and straight away referee catching Bradford offside. So 4 tackles gone there, and Mr Campbell looking to keep the players apart. Quite a stiff breeze blowing, but it's coming into our faces as that ball's going to spin out. The wind is well taken there by Tony Marchant, as Bradford, first touch of the ball, Marchant gets out of 1 tackle, but good little relieving run there. David Hobbs on the charge up the blind side. That's good running by the Bradford skipper, looking to drive this ball out. Dave Watson in at the first receivers. John Hamer back in the team tonight after that collarbone injury. Dave Heron gets a good ball too. Carl Fairbank inside to Neil Summers. Summers has got good tackle there. Summers had Dave Watson on the inside, but Bradford looking to move this ball as Dave Watson takes the ball out. Roger Simpson in the line. Simpson dodges, darts one way, keeping the ball alive, but Rapati there coming back and intercepting that ball as Bradford was starting to look dangerous. So it's Oldham back in possession, and the hooker there getting a little bit of a knocky and Bates offers the arm, but nice to see Bradford prepared to run this ball as Oldham look to drive the ball out there. with Olsen. Good spotting there by Neil Summers as Oldham once again play the ball very, very quickly, and the long kick down the park. That's a good kick over the top. Long chase back there for Tony Marchant. It was Tommy Martin that kicked that ball. Marchant picks the ball up safely and just brings the ball out towards his own 25. Ball struck through there, but Roger Simpson alert at the back as Simpson coming across the park, gets out of one. Nice running by Simpson. Sells a beautiful dummies. Simpson straightens up. That's super running by the Bradford fullback. Sold one or two dummies, and Neil Summers on the drive now. Up to Watson, on to Heron. A good ball over the top. John Hamer. Nice little ball laid off there by David Hobbs. Bradford prepared to throw this ball about tonight. Roy Powell takes the charge up. Powell dips the shoulder in, but Sherratt comes in there with a good tackle. David Hobbs puts the boot to the ball. That's a good kick. Down into the Oldham half of the field. Heading ball to Oldham. It's Bradford playing some good rugby in this opening 5 minutes. So down we go to scrum. Bradford with a big pack out tonight. David Hobbs will be looking for his men to drive as that ball goes in, but the ball coming out safely Oldham's ways. Oldham come away again from the acting half back. That's a good tackle effected there by Roger Simpson. The big prop, the big number 10, but Steve McGowan wraps him up well there. Mark Shields. Oldham working the short side once again. And nice little ankle tap there, just breaks the loose forwards fall as Oldham throw the ball across the park. Well held eventually there by Salamona. It's the 5th tackle, signalled by the referee. That's a good kick down into that bottom corners. Tony Anderson there, watching that ball run, and Oldham shoveling the ball into touch there, so that'll be head and ball to Bradford Northern. Handover it is. It was on the 6th tackle. But Oldham obviously with his kicking game. Oldham switching players about there. It looks like Wally Gibson's gone into the standoffers. That's a good driving run there by Brian Noble from that play the ball. Roy Powell working the short side, dips the shoulder, looking to offload to the attending David Hobbs, but he's brought down as Powell on the halfway line. Little run around there. That's a good ball over the top of Summers. Good ball out. That ball intercepted there as Summers gave the ball to Roger Simpson. Sherratt on the drive now, so it's Oldham back in possession in the Bradford half of the field. Oldham coming up pace, but once again good cover tackling there by Roy Powell. Kerry, the long ball out, misses the man out. With the dummy soul there by Tommy Martin, the number 6. Full-back coming up at pace then. It's a good tackle, but it's the 5th and last tackle signal by the referee. Once again the kick over the top, but attempted drop goal. That'll be a tap out to Bradford on the 25. Carl Fairbank on the charge. Fairbank dips the shoulder, turns his back, looks for supporting players, but the hooker there for Oldham, Ian Bates, as John Hamer takes the first run. Brian Noble from the acting halfback. Nice little darting run, but Salamona there wraps Noble up. Bradford still inside their own half of the field. Roy Powell once again. Powell driving, makes a good 10-15 yards there. Dave Watson. Watson finds the gap, looks for the supporting player, but once again Watson got the ball out, but that ball just knocked down there by an Oldham player, so it's Oldham back in possession as the fullback once again Blower. Little switch round there. We had Wally Gibson at fullback. Good driving run, but Carl Fairbank in and Dave Heron Cover tackling across there. Oldham working the short side. It's Richard Russell. Once again a good tackle by Daryl Shelford. Shelford in very, very quickly. And that ball bobbling loose. Referee saying went back. So it's the last tackle signal once again as Kerry drives the ball along the floor. Roy Powell gets it at the second attempt and Kerry up very, very quickly. Roy Powell did well to trap that ball. Now that ball bobbling about. Referee saying back to one as Roger Simpson from the acting halfback. Simpson runs straight into the working arms there, Ovie and Sharrett. Bradford on the short side with Carl Fairbank. Fairbank lays the ball down, but that ball clean up at the back as Salmona gets the good ball out to Kerry. Kerry flips the ball inside to James Blowen. It's Oldham inside the Bradford 25 now. And a bad mistake there by Oldham, the number 12. Olsen there just putting that ball down. So a let off there for Bradford as Brian Noble comes away with the ball from acting halfback. John Hamer looking for supporting players, but nobody were coming running there. Hamer having to go into the acting halfback position. So Dave Heron. Oh, that's a beautiful break by Dave Heron. He's got Carl Fairbank with him. Fairbank striding out the ball inside to Dave Watson. Watson straightens up. Watson going for the line. Gets the ball over to Anderson. And a try for Bradford Northern in the corner. That was a good move by Bradford Northern. Dave Heron sold a beautiful dummy. Opened the Oldham defence up. And Dave Watson was up there in support with Carl Fairbank. And Tony Anderson gets Bradford's first try. We played some 9 minutes of this game. Bradford Northern 4, Oldham 0. But once again, good supporting play. Dave Heron causing havoc in this early 10 minutes. As Tony Anderson there just walking back with Daryl Shelford. So Heron, as I was saying, causing havoc. He prized the Oldham defence open a couple of times in this opening 10 minutes. And a good try as the reward there for good support play by Tony Anderson. So David Hobbs from the touchline side. The wind blowing from the main stand on that far side. So a difficult kick for Hobbs. But Hobbs knows this ground very, very well. Had a 2-year stint with Oldham. That's a beautiful kick by David Hobbs, but just dropping short. The wind just pulling it back there. David Hobbs, prior to coming to Bradford Northern, had a stint here at Oldham for 12 months, so knows this ground. So, Oldham 0, Bradford Northern 4, and Oldham to restart with Steve Carey. That's a good long deep kick into the corners. Dave Watson takes the ball safely, gets it on to Carl Fairbank. Fairbank once again dips the shoulder, brings the ball out over his own 25. John Hamer. Hamer's well met there by Sharrett. Sharrett, this big 16.5, 17 stone forward, ex-Bradford Northern, is Daryl Shelford. Shelford looks to get the handoff going there. Pull down well. David Hobbs.
Anderson is playing number 5, Marchant is playing number 2.
So Bradford still in their own half as Dave Heron. Nice little dummy once again by Heron. The ball out looking for the supporting Roy Powell, but that's intercepted once again by Bates as Salmona takes the drive back into the Bradford half of the field. Again, the number 12 there, Olsen, looking to keep his eye on this ball. Oldham working the short side. Dave Heron just coming across there and putting Bates to ground. Kerry, long ball out. That's a good ball to Russell, and a good tackle by Neil Summers. Russell looked as though he'd made the gap. It's the last tackle signal by the referee as the chip over the top. And that ball hacked away there by Oldham. We're still on the last tackle as Bradford get the ball there. It's clever little play by Oldham. They use this kicking game a lot over the top. But Bradford back in possession. Roger Simpson. Simpson, the little stop-start. Looks to prize the gap open. Wrapped up there by 3 Oldham players. Neil Summers. Summers sells the dummy. Looked to have made the break there, but the Oldham player, just hooker it was, Bates, just hanging on to Summers as John Hamer drives up to the halfway line. Dave Watson in at the first receiver, the run round. Watson the dummy once again. He's got Carl Fairbank with him inside to Fairbank. Steve McGowan, the try poacher. Is he going to get there? But that's good cover by the winger of Oldham, and a penalty to Bradford Northern, holding Steve McGowan down there underneath the post. Ian Sherratt, the guilty party there, but once again it was good supporting play. The break made by Bradford Northern, but very, very good cover there as the Oldham winger got across. Steve McGowan had the try line open, but the cover coming across. Oldham holding now, so a chance for David Hobbs to add a further 2 points. 13 minutes gone on the clock here at the Watersheddings. So David Hobbs from under the centre of the post lifts the ball between the uprights, so Bradford extend the lead by a further 2.
Oldham make a substitution. Number 15, Shane Tapia, comes on, replacing number 12, Ben Oldham.
So Oldham making a substitution there. It's number 15 coming on the park. Tapia as Oldham get the long ball out. Carl Fairbank coming out of his own 25, looking for the supporting player there, but a good tackle. First tackle by Tapia. John Hamer. Hamer driving up. Makes the customary 10 yards. Roy Powell. And straight away Tapia, the substitute coming on, effected 3 tackles in quick succession there. It's Dave Watson. Watson, there's a good ball off to Dave Heron, but Heron strung to the ground there by Salvona. David Hobb puts the boot to the ball, that's a good kick. Over the top. Full back there, coming up at pace, Wally Gibson. Looks to bring the ball across. Roy Powell up there, that's good chasing by Bradford Northern. Brian Noble, Roy Powell. Up there very, very quickly as Oldham look to come driving away. That's a good strong run by Blowham. Equally good tackling by Steve McGowan. Oldham come again with Rapati. Rapati gets the ball out, but no way through this time for Oldham. They work the short side again, and a chance here for Bradford Northern. Anderson picks the ball up, it's the ball over the top to Shelford. Mistake there by Oldham. Tony Anderson picking that ball up well as Bradford back in possession. Dave Watson on to David Heron, that's a good ball out by Heron. Fairbank pushes one off, straightens up, but Bradford needed to work that ball out wide then as David Hobbs straightening up, going towards the post, looking for the supporting players. He got John Hamer coming, but Hobbs just couldn't release the ball there. We're up to the Oldham 25. Heron once again. Heron flips the ball back as Shelford going down on that ball. That's touched an Oldham player, but referee signalling no, not back to 6 tackles as Roger Simpson flips that little ball up. Referee signals the last tackle now. Oldham knocked that ball down, so it should have been 6 more. David Hobbs puts the good high ball. Chasers coming in as Marchant's up there. Marchant gets the try, but referee looking at his touch judge saying It was a knock on, it touched Dave Watson, but once again, a good kick by David Hobbs. Oldham with the tap out on the 25, wanting to get on with the game quickly as Gibson comes up, but referee a little bit unsure there, David Campbell. Had to look to his touch judge on this side. As Oldham worked the short side with Sherratt. Sherratt up to the 35-metre line. Gibson coming again, that's good running. Good. 25 yards made there. By the Oldham fullback, it's the kick over the top. That's the favourite ploy of Oldham, of Tony Marchant. Back well there. And a good tackle there on Marchant by Tommy Martin. Simpson from the acting half-back. Simpson once again making good yardage. Gets the ball out to Brian Noble. Noble out over the 25. Fairbank on the charge. Good tackle on Fairbank there by the stand-offers. Dave Herring once again. Little prop sells the dummy, but Oldham this time wrapped David Herring up. David Hobbs puts the boot to the ball. Hobbs using a good kicking game tonight. That's a good ball into space as he chases her up there with Steve McGowan up. A nice little reverse pass there. Oldham straightening up, but getting out of one tacklers. That's a good run, but good tackling there. John Hamer brought the winger down, blown, so it's Oldham on the charge again, but Oldham not waiting as Sherratt. The ball just offloaded there to Sherratt. He's back in the Bradford half of the field. Kerry, once again it's Richard Russell, but Bradford smothering man and ball there. Salmona, looking to hand Neil Summers off. Bradford with Daniel Shelford there, going in round the top. Kerry, the long ball out. Ball laid back once again. That's a good ball. Standoffs in the clear, but once again, good cover tackling by Dave Watson, but it's Oldham on the last tackle. The ball out with the hooker on that far side. That'll be the handover, but entertaining play there by Oldham. Prepared to move the ball on this last tackle. So the handover is Roger Simpson once again. Simpson gets out of one. Once again, Roger playing well, but finally going down this time. Tackle affected there by Tyra. Daniel Shelford comes away out of his own 25. John Hamer. Hamer drives in. Takes two Oldham players to bring him down. Heron. Good ball on to Watson. That's quick hands over the top to Tony Marchant. Marchant steps inside. He's turned the standoff. Marchant going for the corner. But once again, a good tackle by Wally Gibson. But Marchant making good yardage there for Bradford Norden. Quick hands as Norden come again with Dave Herring. Herring gets the ball over the top. Bradford keeping the ball alive. It's Neil Summers. But we're on the fifth tackle. Dave Herring. Herring, the long ball out. Well taken by Roger Simpson as Simpson offloads the ball. But that was a good pass out by Herring. But Roger Simpson just couldn't pick that ball up. Try line was open, so it's a handover to Oldham as Oldham come away from that to half that position. With Tyre at the centre. Bates the hooker. Takes the next drive up. Bradford need to pen Oldham in that half of the field now. Richard Russell drives out to the 25. Four tackles gone now for Oldham, and they made some 35 yards. And nearly a mistake again, as that's a good kick over the top into space. A long chase back for Roger Simpson. Nice little side set by Simpson, but three good chases up there for Oldham. Simpson wanting to get up very, very quickly, but Tony Anderson from the acting half-back, but he's wrapped up just inside the 25. Hamer. Carl Fairbank. Fairbank turning. It's a good ball out today. Watson through the gap. Watson opens up. It's the ball inside to Daryl Shelford. Brian Noble with him. Shelford selling the dummy there. Still on his feet, looking to offload, but Bradford needed the supporting players there. And a penalty once again to Bradford Northern, lying on there. It was Richard Russell penalised for lying on Daryl Shelford. So a chance once again for David Hobbs. That Newton going to pop the ball into touch. Bradford not electing to go for goal as Blown, the number 2, just asking the referee to call the physio on. So Bradford with 6 more tackles to some 11, 12 yards from that Oldham try line. We played some 22 minutes on the clock. Obviously the winger there feeling a little bit of discomfort. So Bradford with the Roy Powell gets a good ball on to John Hamer. Hamer turning his back, looking for a supporting player. David Hobbs. Hobbs tips the shoulder, pull down just 10 yards from that try line. Bradford with the move on. Watson flips the ball over the top, and it's intercepted by Oldham. That's good play by Oldham. All from a mistake. Good tackle by Roger Simpson on Tyra, but Bradford need to get the defence back now as Oldham come again with Kerry. The pass missed out over the top then. Gibson, the number 6, going for the corner, and all from that mistake by Bradford Northern, but Tommy Martin gets the try in the corner for Oldham. Oldham moving the ball out very, very quickly. And Tommy Martin going in unopposed at the corner. So a full 80-yard movement there of the field. All from that mistake by Norton. So Oldham reduced the arrears by 4 points. Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 6. So David Hobbs is having a word with the players behind the course there. He's got the kick to come. It looks like Steve Kerry. So the kick to come, the ball lifted towards the post but drifting out to the right hand side of the upright, so just the 2 points separating the teams. And as we come up to 25 minutes on the clock. And as the chant goes up from the scratching shed end, a lot of people made the trip over the Pennines tonight. 2 watersheddings. It's David Hobbs. Restarts the game from the centre. Taken by Gibson, who gets the ball on to Salmona, but Salmona's well wrapped up there by Roy Powell. Blown from the acting half-back position. Makes 10 yards. Oldham moving this ball out. Bates takes the drive up there, but well met by Stephen McGowan and Brian Noble. The ball back there and the kick once again over the top. Roger Simpson with a long chase back. Simpson picks the ball up in his own 25. But 3 Oldham chases up very, very quickly there on Bradford Northern's fullback. Tony Marchant from the acting half, a little run around there with Roy Powell. Marchant straightens up, no way through. the defence there of which just as Carl Fairbank. Fairbank dipping the shoulder again. Neil Summers. Summers straightening up, looking to burst through the gap. The Oldham forwards keeping an eye on Bradford standoff with Roy Powell. Powell straightening up again, but it takes 4 players to knock Powell to the ground. That's the last tackle signal by the referee. Ball with David Hobbs. Hobbs, it's a good kick over the top. That's well taken by the winger blown, but that'll Shelford up there very, very quickly. Oldham, the little darting run once again from acting half-back. With the centre tyrer. Oldham switching the ball out. The stand-off half-laner Tommy Martin, minus the scrum cap now that he had on earlier on. Oldham coming out, a good ball inside. Oldham keeping that ball alive with Olsen. Referee wanting the Bradford players to come back 10 yards. Sherratt on the drive again. And that ball going loose there, but referee saying no knock on. That ball looked to travel a long way forward. He's got his arm raised. It's the last tackle signal. Kerry drives a long ball into the corner, but so that'll be the tap out to Bradford Northern. On the 25 is Dave Watson, comes away with the ball. Watson hands one off, but this time couldn't get out of the clutches there of Tommy Martin. It's Steve McGowan coming away with the ball. Little dummy, nice little run there by Carl Fairbank. Fairbank wanting to get up quickly and play the ball. Brian Noble from the acting half-back. Noble takes the drive up towards the halfway line. 4 tackles gone now for Bradford Northern. Heron dancing about again, and Heron looks as though he'd lost the ball there, but referee blind to that. It's the 5th tackle signal. There's the ball with David Hobbs. Hobbs drills a good ball along the floor. Picked up well by Wally Gibson at fullback. Hits the ball out to Kerry as Kerry sets off. Tackle there by Carl Fairbank. Told them back in possession. Once again it's the winger blown, a big winger. Takes that first drive up. 3 tackles gone now for Oldham as Salmona on the ball. Looking to offload that ball. Dave Watson wrapping him up. Oldham working the short side. Spins out of one tackle. It's a good ball into Russell. Oldham keep this ball alive. And a good tackle then. Daryl Shelford intercepting that ball. That ball knocked down, and Shelford just couldn't get out of the tackle once again of Gibson. So Bradford back in possession. It's Dave Watson. Watson dancing about. Straightens up, lays the ball to McGowan. McGowan gets out of one. McGowan finally pulled down, but Bradford now back on the attack. Need a try before half time. Fairbank. On to John Hamer. Hamer straightens up over the 25. David Hobbs. Hobbs driving for the post. Pulled down just 5 yards, 6 yards short of that Oldham try line. Brian Noble buddies over from acting half-back, gets the ball down, and the dummy, they sold the little dummy there. It looked as though Noble was struggling to get the ball, but decided to go on his own and buried his way through for Bradford's 2nd try of the night on the half hour. So quite a while since we saw a Bradford Northern try by Brian Noble, but a valuable try as we come up to the half an hour on the clock here at Watershedings, and a chance for David Hobbs.
Try scorer for Bradford Northern, number 9, Brian Noble.
So Nobby gets the cheer there of the good, healthy Bradford contingent that's here tonight, cheering the team on. But a very, very cold night, a lot of handling mistakes so far. by both sides. So David Hobbs just to the right hand side of the uprights from our commentary position. Strikes the ball, finds the centre of the post, so just over the half an hour gone. It's Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 12. So Bradford need to keep Oldham out now in this first half. As a substitution being made for Oldham. It's the number 11 going off, number 12 going off, so probably the shirts change round. Sherritt coming back on the park, had a little bit of running repairs. It's a good long deep kick, well taken by Dave Watson, who hits the ball onto Fairbank. Fairbank coming out of his own 25. Good running by the Bradford Northern second rower there. John Hamer. Hamer's hauled to the ground there by Salmona. Watson. There's the ball inside to Powell, but a good tackle effected there on Roy Powell by the number 15. Heron. Heron settles the dummy again, looks to offload the ball inside to David Hobbs. That ball charged down, well taken there by David Hobbs. It's the ball on to Roger Simpson, and referee wiping the slate clean, so 6 more tackles for Bradford Northern. Watson, good ball to Carl Fairbank, puts Fairbank into space, and bit of a forward pass there as Carl offloaded that ball. So it's Oldham back on the attack. Good ball out there by Rapati, but good cover tackling. Brian Noble getting across the park there. Oldham coming again with the big number 10. Gets out of one tackle, spins round. Mark Shields, the number 10. Richard Russell takes the drive down the short side. Kerry, the long ball out to Gibson. Rapati coming in, offloads. That's a good ball over the top. With the winger on that far side, McGowan intercepts there. That was good play by the Bradford centre. That ball bobbling about as Steve McGowan just fingertipped that ball as Bradford back in possession. David Hobbs just settling things down, taking that first drive up, and the penalty to Bradford Northern. Rapati there, adjudged to have hooked the ball out as Dave Watson takes a quick tap. Watson looking for support, gets a good ball to John Hamer. Hamer straightening up. Good yardage made by Northern. Roy Powell. Powell driving towards the post, but a good tackle there by Sherritt on Powell. Hobbs straightens up again, spins, looks to offload, but Heron switches the ball inside to Anderson. Anderson's haul down. Brian Noble from the acting halfback gets the ball over the top. Dave Watson straightening up. Watson, a one-handed pass out to Roger Simpson, out to Tony Marchant. Marchant tries to step inside, but that's the last tackle signal now by the referee as Bradford come again. Little chip through. McGowan dives for the ball, but the Oldham defence there just got a boot to that ball as Steve McGowan was diving in there. So a chance for Northern to get possession back. It's a drop out under the post by Oldham, but a clever little kick there. McGowan just couldn't get a hand to it. So Oldham drop out underneath the post. That's a good ball over the top into spaces. Steve McGowan takes his time, picks it up and then straightens up, runs at the Oldham defence. Dave Watson plays the ball inside to Fairbank. Fairbank, a little bit of a wild pass there, but swept up at the back by David Hobbs. Hobbs looking for supporting players, but just Nobody coming running there. Off the Bradford skipper, and once again a penalty for laying on. It's the hooker this time, Ian Bates, who's got the wrath of the referee, holding the Bradford skipper down with some 4 minutes still remaining in this first half. And David Hobbs electing to go for goal, waste a little bit of time. Oldham 4, Bradford Oldham 12.
We have a message for Mr. Christopher Broadbent of Rushfield Crescent. I think that's Longfield Crescent.
So David Hobbs, 30 yards, just to the right hand side of the approach.
Longfield Crescent, please bring home. If he goes to the office, he can use phone in the rugby office.
No, Bradford need the chasers running up after this kick of David Hobbs. Hobbs strikes the ball, finds the centre. The Bradford public at the back there told us that David Hobbs had got that kick, so 3 minutes to go. Northern extend the lead by a further 2 points. It's Oldham 4, Bradford Oldham 14. To restart from the centre. Steve Kerry to drive the ball deep into the Bradford half. Once again Davy Watson there at first receiver. Onto Carl Fairbank. Fairbank straightens up, well met there. Right, no, from acting half. John Hamer looking to hand people off. Powell. There gets sound of ball. Once again, it's good tackling by the number 15 Tapia. Dave Watson. Watson with little run around there with John Hamer. It's 4 tackles now. David Hobbs behind the acting half back there. There's Watson. The long ball out and a bit of a wild pass by Watson. Gets the ball over the top to Tony Anderson. The last tackle signalled. Ball to Neil Summers. Summers puts the boot to the ball. Over the top, it's picked up by Wally Gibson. Gibson sets up across the park, but David Hobbs and Steve McGowan there very, very quickly to bring him to ground. Kerry dancing about there. Oldham players not looking for him. That's a good tackle by Tony Anderson. On Blowham. Salmona comes round the short side, gets the ball over the top. It's a good ball, but a good tackle there. Dave Heron and Neil Summers there chasing back. Summers doing a good sweeping up job at the back there. That was a good little kick over the top by the wingers, Roddy Simpson. Looking to bring the ball away, but he's hauled down as the half-time hooter goes. Here at the water sheddings, the very, very cold water sheddings. Oldham 4, Bradford Oldham 14. So Bradford and Oldham coming back onto the park for this second half. Bradford look as though they've kept the same 13, so Trevor Clark and Paul Medley still in reserve on that substitutes bench. And Bradford with that 10-point lead have the distance, and this ground at the water sheddings here slopes down into the right hand corner, so obviously David Hobbs and possibly Neil Summers with a big kicking game in this second half as Oldham get the second half underway. That's a good high ball, and that ball well taken once again by Dave Watson. Has got Roy Powell on his shoulder this time as Powell sets off, and Ian Sheraton there very, very quickly with Salmona's Roger Simpson. Takes the little dart from the acting halfback, gets out over the 25. Wanting to get up quickly there to play the ball is John Hamer. Hamer, a bit of a high tackle there, but referee saying it was round the shoulder. Watson on to Powell. Powell on the charge, that's good strong running by Big Roy. 4 tackles gone for Bradford and Oldham, and they're still in that half of the field. David Hobbs steps inside, gets the ball back to Roger Simpson. Simpson puts a short kick over the top. Rapati looking to get away from McGowan, but McGowan wraps him up down there, assisted by John Hamer. Oldham looking to come away with the winger, but losing his footing. Sherritt on the drive. So it's Oldham in possession. Wally Gibson coming up from the full-back again, as this time wrapped up by David Hobbs. That's 4 tackles gone for Oldham and not really made any inroads. As Oldham come again. That's a good ball over the top to the substitute, to Power, but that's the last tackle. As Oldham put the high ball up once again. Roger Simpson, that ball bouncing off of Simpson, but Bradford recovering well there. Dave Heron, it was back as Daryl Shelford spins out of one. So Bradford need to drive this ball out of their own 25 as Roy Powell sets off, but once again good spotting by to Power. Dave Watson, it's a good ball out to McGowan. McGowan gets the handoff going. McGowan in the clear, but a good tackle by the winger brings Steve McGowan down. Watson, John Hamer going on the dummy run as Watson gets the ball inside to Summers, but a good tackle there by to Power again on Neil Summers. David Hobbs puts the boot to the ball. That's a good kick. Gibson well back inside his own 25 as he sets off across the face of the post, and a good tackle there brings the full back down, and obviously felt that tackle by Daryl Shelford. Referee giving the ball to another Oldham player, wanting to keep this in. Oldham putting that ball to ground. Still managed to retain possession as the number 10 comes driving out there. It's good strong running, but Bradford pushing back towards his own 25. Mark Shields, big strong runners. The other prop there takes the drive up. Salmona. Preston, it's Russell on that far side, but 6 tackles, signalled by the referee. Once again the long driving kick down into the Bradford half as Roger Simpson takes the ball on his own 25, steps inside one, gets out of one tackle. That's good little darting run by the Bradford fullback. Referee giving a knock on there. I think he played to the crowd. Dave Watson was tapping that ball about with his feet. Didn't go for it with the hands the first time, but only the second scrum of the match, with just 1 scrum in that first half, was Kerry about to feed the scrum. Bradford with the drive on, but Kerry just getting that ball at the second attempt, manages to offload the ball to the substitute, Strett, the number 14 on the park. So Bradford need to defend now to keep Oldham out, and the tacklers in very, very quickly there. Big number 10 takes the drive up again. Mark Shields as Oldham look to move the ball across the park. Salmona straightening up, and Bradford looking to clamp man and ball as Salmona looks to get out of the tackle there, but finally brought down. Oldham putting the pressure on Bradford, the long ball out. McGowan hauls his man down. Shelford it was on that far side. The little slide kick through, David Hobbs sweeping up well at the back there. And Bradford back in possession, but Oldham coming out in the second half. We played 5 minutes as Dave Watson comes away from the acting halfback. Watson steps out of one and gets up to the 25. That's a good relieving run by the Bradford scrum half. Fairbank on the short side. Looks to offload, but Oldham throwing to the ground. Summers with the dummy. Summers makes the half break. That's a good break. Summers up over the halfway line, but once again falls to a good tackle there by Gibson. Summers come bursting onto a good pass there as Bradford now back in the Oldham half of the field. A nice little inside ball to John Hamer, onto Tony Marchant. Marchant steps out of one, but last tackle signal by the referee. Roy Powell going up the short side. Powell caught in possession there, so that'll be the handover to Oldham. Bradford needed somebody there at the acting half-back to kick the ball as Rapati comes away, but Roy Powell from the marker there gets a good tackle in, and Bradford coming in with the tackles now. Good charging run once again by the prop, and obviously done something to his shoulder going down in that tackle. The ball switched inside to Sherratt. Sherratt looking to spin out. Oldham looking to move the ball out once again, putting a good ball into the corner. That's a good kick, and that ball will find touch 10 metres from the Bradford Northern try line. Doing a bit of kicking since he came onto the park. Heading ball to Bradford, but Bradford back in their own half of the field. Still that scoreline, 10 points the difference. Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 14. We played some 6-7 minutes in this second half, and Oldham come out playing the game at 100 mile an hour as Bradford get the ball from the scrum. It's Tony Marchant looking to straighten up there, but just slipping on the greasy turf. That end of the field, very, very greasy. Summers straightens up, gets out to the 25. John Hamer straightens up with the forwards in very, very quickly there around John Hamer. Watson going up the short side. It's a good ball inside to Daryl Shelford. Shelford hands one off, but Salmona there brings Shelford to ground as David Hobbs puts the boot to the ball. That's a good kick over the top by Hobbs, and Ilmy there, Blowen gets the ball at the second attempt, sets off, and Shelford up there. Once again, good tackling game by the Bradford centre this evening. Gibson coming up from acting half-back. Makes good yardage, back up towards the halfway line. Oldham coming running at pace, but Neil Summers wrapping the loose forward up there on the halfway line. Kerry the ball over the top. Little run round again, and that ball laid back, the ball bobbling about and cleaned up there by Brian Noble as Sherratt tried to hack that ball through, and Brian Noble going down on the ball as Watson sets up again. Watson gets out of one. Spinning round, makes a few more yards. John Hamer pushes one off, gets the ball to Brian Noble. Noble gets out of one tackle, but wrapped up there by Richard Russell as the gap opened up. Heron switching round, gets the ball to Roger Simpson. Simpson coming back into the cover there. Bradford had a move on. Heron once again on the roll. Heron, good tackle on Heron there by Rapati. It's the last tackle signal once again by the referee. The ball to David Hobbs. Hobbs drills the ball along the ground, and that's a good kick into the corner. Finds touch. Bradford about to make a substitution. It's going to be David Hobbs coming off the park and Paul Medley coming on. Peter Fox just ringing the changes. Referee just holds the game up. So David Hobbs just having a word with Neil Summers there, that he wants Summers to do the kicking game as Hobbs off the park. Medley, fresh pair of legs coming on the park. So Roy Powell will go up into the front row, Medley into the second row. And Bradford get the ball against the head there as Watson straightens up. That was a good push by Bradford. One against the head there. That's little dummy from acting halfback by Heron. Heron gets the ball over the top to Summers. Summers straightens up, runs at the defence. Pull down inside, that's Oldham 25. Roy Powell charging, spinning out of one. Powell driving towards that line. He's pulled down some 8 yards short. Bradford with the move on here. Brian Noble, that's a good ball out. Long ball out by Heron. Bradford moving the ball. Simpson tells the dummies. Straightens up, goes inside. Bradford still in that 10-yard area as Heron once again gets the ball on to Fairbank. Fairbank spinning, looking to get out of the tackle, but 5 tackles gone now. Dave Watson, it's the ball over the top. That's picked up as that ball's bobbling about, but the referee giving the knock on there, so that'll be the hand over to Oldham. Oldham coming away with Gibson from the Acton halfback position. Looking to work the short side, the hooker there, Ian Bates, but Bates is wrapped up well by Brian Noble, his opposing number 9. Russell out to Salmona. Salmona straightens up and loses the ball there. That was a knock on, spotted by the referee, Mr. David Campbell. So down we go to scrum. We're just outside the Oldham 25. Bradford's heading ball. Now the ball safely out Bradford's way as Watson looking to sell the little dummy, gets the handoff going, rushes for a pass. Watson gets in the clear. Watson with the handoff going, but Watson's pulled down just a yard short of that try line. Bradford need to move the ball across the park. Heron, the long ball out to Roger Simpson, onto Daryl Shelford. Shelford straightening up, Shelford stretching out, but he's just hauled down a yard short. Bradford with John Hamer. Hamer driving into that corner, but Bradford just can't get over that line. The Oldham cover coming across very, very well as Roger Simpson once again. The ball onto Heron. Bradford looking to keep this ball alive with Watson. Watson finds the gap again, makes the half break, and the supporting Carl Fairbank there gets a try for Bradford Northern. Dave Watson causing havoc there in the Oldham defence, and the strength of this little man holding up in the tackle, and Carl Fairbank there coming to take the pass, a final pass off of Dave Watson, and pops the ball down over the try line. It's Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 18. And it looks like Tony Marchant taking over the kicking duties. David Hobbs off the field, Paul Medley on, so it's Tony Marchant entrusted with the goal kicking. So Marchant to the left hand side of the post, slots the ball, finds the centre of the post, so 2 more valuable points for Bradford Northern. We played some 15 minutes in this second half. Bradford Northern 20, Oldham 4. And Bradford making another substitution. Trevor Clark coming on the field. Tony Anderson going off. Bradford with the number 2 held up. Or is it Tony Marchant? Marchant who's coming off. Paul Medley will switch out, possibly onto the wing. So Peter Fox getting another pair of fresh legs on with Trevor Clark.
Bradford make a substitution. 14, Trevor Clark comes on to replace number.
So Oldham restart from the centres. That ball popped over the top. Watson just lets it bounce once he gets the ball to Medley. Medley, first run of the ball, broke the tackle there of the number 14 as Brian Noble comes away from acting halfback. Nobby had a good little darting game round that play of the ball tonight, made valuable yardage. Heron onto Powell. Powell dips the shoulder, he got Carl Fairbank in support, he just couldn't offload that ball then. Neil Summers. Summers straightens up again, looks to get out of the tackle, but 3 Oldham players in very quickly, wrap the Bradford stand-up up. Trevor Clark in an acting halfback. On to Dave Heron. Heron props, straightens up again. Heron, good supporting ball to Trevor Clark. Clark inside to Roy Powell. Powell keeps the move going. Powell looking for the supporting players, but once again good into passing there by Bradford Northern. Northern with Fairbank. Fairbank sells the dummy, gets a good ball inside. Bradford keeping that ball alive, but finally going to ground there on the 6th tackle, so that'll be the handover to Oldham. But once again, good support play, good into passing by the Bradford forwards. So Oldham looking to drive this ball down to their own 25. Gibson, that's a good tackle on Gibson by Paul Medley. Medley very quickly. Kerry, Oldham looking the ball out. Medley's in there again. That ball flipped back by Oldham, but Steve McGowan wraps the winger up. Stuart Cocker on that bottom side. Oldham being driven back as Salmona comes in with the ball. Hits a good ball over the top. But once again, a good tackle by Trevor Clark. Oldham had 5 tackles and not moved down to their own 25 as Kerry puts the kick over the top. Roger Simpson on the wing, takes the ball. Simpson gets out of the tackle there. Rapati finally wraps him up, brings him to ground. Roy Powell. Powell driving on. Powell making valuable yardage. Had a good driving game for Northern tonight. And midway through this second half as John Hamer heads towards the first. He's holding just inside the Oldham 25. Carl Fairbank. Fairbank, a little run around there with Summers. Summers well tackled. Brian Noble, once again the dart from acting halfback. Gets the ball underneath the post. We're on the 6th tackle. The referee with his arm raised in there as Dave Watson puts a little chip through. And Bradford get the ball, but a penalty there against Dave Watson for pulling the Oldham player back. As that little chip kick went through. So a free kick for Oldham, and Oldham fine touch on this near side. So Salmona takes the first drive, gets out of the tackle there of Roy Powell. Ball onto the number 15, that ball was offloaded well, so it's Oldham back on the attack, inside the Bradford half. Oldham with a good line out, moving the ball across the top, and once again a mistake. Referee saying a knock on there, but that looked as though it touched the winger's ankles. Winger throws the ball away in disgust. And Roy Powell limping out towards the pack, took a little bit of a knock on the hip there as he went down. He's saying to Marie, I'm alright, let me get in this scrum where it's warm. Bitterly cold night here at the Water Sheddings as Bradford get the ball in and out of the scrum. Neil Summers gone to scrum half now. Shelford, that was a good short pass to Shelford. Summers gets the return pass from Shelford and gets the ball back into the Bradford half, the Oldham half of the field. Tony Anderson in at first man, distributing the ball. It's a good ball onto Medley. Medley on the charge. Medley gets the handoff going. Medley going for the corner, and Medley scores a super try in the corner. Beautiful handoff there by Paul Medley round the outside of the Oldham defence, and the strength and speed of the Bradford Northern second row man. Paul Medley gets another try for Northern in the corner, so that's another 4 points. Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 24. And we're exactly halfway through this second half. Kicking duties, Steve McGowan, so we've got another kicker having a go for goal tonight. And a long time since I've seen Steve McGowan have a kick at goal. It's a long kick out. The wind swirling about here at Water Sheddings. So Steve McGowan comes up, strikes the ball. That's a good ball by McGowan, but the wind pulling it back. It looked to be curling in towards the post. But Bradford with a healthy 20-point lead now, and 20 minutes of this game still to play. So Oldham to restart, and we do apologise if we missed the back end of that try as Medley went over. There's more cameras than soft mick on the gantry tonight as Bradford get the ball from the kick-off. It's Summers coming out again over the 25. Brian Noble from acting halfback on to John Hamer. Hamer gets the handoff going, offloads the ball, but that's picked up there by Rapati. Oldham interceptions. Rapati gets a good ball out, and good play by Oldham, but a good cover tackle there by Brian Noble. So Oldham back in possession. Kerry straightens up, but a good tackle. Noble in again, then knocks the Oldham scrum half to the ground on the 25. Oldham moving the ball out wide. Summers in again on Stuart Cocker, brings him to ground, and a knock on there by Oldham at the play of the ball, so that'll be a scrum down. The acting half back there, all fingers and thumbs, but as I've said before, a very, very cold night over this side of the Pennines as Bradford get the ball in out the scrum with Summers. Summers gets the handoff going again, but Heron onto Watson. Watson the little shimmy, looking to pull out of the way, but Rapati and Russell wrap him up. Roger Simpson from acting halfback. Simpson going across the face of the defence, but this time the big number 15. Brian Noble, little dummy soul there. Bradford was looking to drive this ball as Roy Powell takes the charge again, gets out of the tag. Powell makes good ground. That's good running by Powell up to the halfway line, but we're on the 5th tackle signal by the referee. The ball to Neil Summers, and Summers puts a good kick into the corner, into the box as Gibson, a long chase back there, picks the ball up on his own try line, and Steve McGowan up there after Gibson. This time Gibson's brought down by Trevor Clark underneath the post. Ooh, and a tackle there by Paul Medley. Referee saying no high tacklers. Medley caught him full across the chest there as he was trying to sidestep the Bradford second rower, and referee stopping the game straight away there. The player down, looks as though probably not the run down of him as Medley really hit him. So 15 minutes left in this game. It's still that lead, Bradford with a healthy 20-point lead. And that's unfortunate. Looks like they're calling for a stretcher there. Can't you see the player, who it was that went down? And as the St John's ambulance bring the stretcher on, it's a sorry sight, which we don't like to see at rugby league, but oh, sorry sight there as the players carried off. But rugby league these days, there's plenty of attention, and there's always at least 1-2 doctors in attendance, and let's hope that Oldham player will very, very soon be back on his feet. So some 2 or 3 minute stoppage there as Oldham restart the game, as Oldham tip the drive up again. With Mark Shields and Bradford, the tackling machine in again. Paul Medley in very, very quickly on the tackles as Salmona straightens up, but straight into the waiting arms there of David Heron. It's the last tackle signal by the referees. The ball back with Kerry. Kerry puts the little chip over the top as Ryan Noble comes back and sweeps up at the back. Noble goes down safely on that ball on the halfway line. Dave Watson from the acting halfback. Watson makes the half break again. Makes a good 10-15 yards back into the Oldham half of the field. John Hamer. Hamer breaks the tackle of one, spinning the back there, looking to offload, but nobody of Bradford coming running for that return pass. Heron gets a good ball onto Medley. Medley in the clear, inside to Fairbank, but Bradford need to keep driving, and a penalty given to Bradford there. Holding Carl Fairbank. No, he's giving it the other way, that Fairbank didn't play the ball. Fairbank looking to get to his feet very, very quickly, so that's the penalty to Oldham on their own 10-metre mark as Kerry finds good touch on it. So 6 tackles now for Oldham to try and work that ball into the Bradford half of the field. 10 minutes on the clock, but we had that stoppage for that injury, so about 13 minutes remaining in this game. Oldham come driving again. Salmona, little spin round there, gets the ball as Kerry dances about inside. Kerry wrapped up, and that's a knock on there as he tries to offload the ball, and Bradford smothering man and ball. It was Trevor Clark at the bottom of that tackle. So, Neil Summers to feed the scrum just inside the Oldham half of the field. That's a good strike. And Dave Heron is taking his eye off that ball. So Rapati on the drive up to the halfway line as Dave Heron just took his eye off that ball at the crucial moment. So it's Oldham back on the attack. Good ball over the top to Rapati. Number 14 it was, the substitute Stret. And Stret manages to get the ball out to the wingers, looking to go around the outside, but that's a good tackle by Roger Simpson on the number 5 Stuart Cocker, hauls him into touch, so that'll be heading ball to Bradford Norton, and the Oldham players there just shouting at one another. Summers with the ball in the scrum again, out to Heron. Heron props, straightens up, sells a little dummy, but nowhere through this time as Richard Rosselet got out of the pack quickly. The ball dropped off inside to Shelford, but Shelford's well stopped there by the hooker, Ian Bates. Trevor Clark, it's the ball on to Hamer. Hamer driving up to the halfway line, looks to shrug the tacklers off. Brian Noble from acting half gets the ball onto Medley. Medley on the charge again. Medley racing away up the ring. He's got the full-back to be, gets the ball inside, and Roger Simpson gets a good try, but it was a good pass down the short side that unleashed Paul Medley again. Medley well covered by the full-back, but Roger Simpson on the inside there to take the return pass and get another try for Bradford Northern. So on the half an hour on the clock, Bradford extend the lead, and it's Paul Medley's running down that blind side. And Simpson up in support. Roger Simpson gone on to the wing as Steve McGowan once again about to take the kick. As the chant goes up from the Bradford spectators, Simo, Simo. So McGowan with his second attempt at goal tonight, and this time McGowan just pushes the ball to the left hand side of the uprights. So Bradford Northern, Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 32. And a substitution, Dave Heron coming off and Tony Marchant back on the park, of course. Peter Fox, obviously, with that match in mind on Friday night when Bradford Northern entertained Wakefield Trinity. at Oldham Stadium as Oldham restart the game. Neil Summers under the ball this time. Gets the ball out to McGowan. McGowan in the centre of the park. Looks to step out of one. Dave Watson. Watson, a good ball over the top to Fairbank. Fairbank gets a good ball out. That's well taken there by Daryl Shelford on that far side.
The result, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's attendance 5,405.
And John Hamer taking the drive, and 5,400 here tonight at the Water Sheddings. As Roy Powell takes the drive up.
Bradford's number 7, Dave Watson.
And Dave Watson getting the Silkhead Award tonight for the outstanding performance in this match. As John Hamer drives up again. But Bradford on the last tackle. The ball back to Summers. Summers steps one way and gets a good ball over the top. That finds touch on this far side as the clock above the scoreboard says there's 5 minutes left plus injury time. It's Oldham 4, Bradford Oldham 28. Five tries to Bradford Oldham and 4 goals. As Oldham get the ball in and out of the scrum. But the Bradford tackles it there very, very quickly with Dave Watson. Tony Marchant back on the field. As Gibson looking to make the break. Salvage a try for Oldham. Kerry, good ball over the top. That's a good pass, but once again, good tackling by Daryl Shelford. And a mistake once again by Oldham. The Sheriff got that ball out, but the supporting player just couldn't take the ball. So that's a knock on. Scrum down just inside the Oldham half of the field. So Neil Summers to put the ball in the scrum, and the referee saying that ball came the same way. Let's have another go at it, lads. Chris Gamble had a good game tonight. He's kept the game flowing. Bradford come up with the ball. Dave Watson. Watson straightening up and pulled down there by Reparty. McGowan. Straightening up there. Summers laid the ball back to him. Little sleight of hand there by Brian Noble. Brings Roy Powell onto the charge. But Powell's fell by 3 Oldham players. Fairbank drops the ball off back to Watson. Watson looking to make that half break again, but nowhere through this time for Dave Watson. As Watson trying to get up and play the ball quickly, plays the ball to himself. Watson streaking away, looks for supporting players, but last tackle signal by the referee as the ball comes out. Neil Summers, little slide kick into the corner for Steve McGowan. Stuart Cocker making a mistake there, knocking on behind his own in goal area. Steve McGowan was bearing down on him, so that'll be a drop out under the post. So it's Oldham to drop possession back for Bradford. No, that's a good drop out to the halfway as Roy Powell just attempts to trap that ball with his feet, gets the ball at the second attempt and sets off towards the Oldham defence, pulled down there by Salmona. John Hamer. Hamer, good to see Hamer back in the pack tonight, taking these drives up for Bradford Oldham. Watson. Bradford with the little move on there as Roy Powell brought down on the 25. 2 minutes plus injury time left on the clock here at the Water Sheddings as Bradford come once again. It's a ball out to Medley, but Medley this time he's brought down on the 25. Dave Watson. Watson props, straightens up, looks for the half break, gets the ball out to Trevor Clark. Clark gets the ball over the top. Roger Simpson steps inside, gets the ball to the supporting McGowan. McGowan gets a try for Bradford Northern. It was Trevor Clark who brought that ball cleverly across the face of the Oldham defence, flipped the ball out to Roger Simpson, and Steve McGowan gets another try for Bradford Oldham. Good work by Trevor Clark and Roger Simpson. So Tony Marchant taking over the kicking duties again, back on the field. Steve McGowan unsuccessful with 2 kicks, but successful there with the support play to get that try for Bradford Northern. And Tony Marchant hits that ball, but that goes right across the face of the Oldham post. So it's that scoreline: Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 32. We're into injury time now. There's 40 minutes up on the clock here at Watershed. And of course that semi-final awaits Bradford Northern now against Wigan. So Oldham restart once again from the centre. That ball, Paul Medley there, looked to have the ball, but puts the ball down on his own try line. So we'll come back to the 10-metre mark for the scrum. Head and ball to Oldham as Gibson looking to come up very, very quickly. As Oldham with a bit of a plan move on. Richard Russell takes the drive towards the post, but he's brought down by Dave Watson as Kerry props, straightens up, looks to dart towards the post, but no way through the tackling there off Tony Marchant. As Oldham keeping this ball alive, a little bit of basketball there, but good tackle effected there by Tony Marchant. Sherritt driving from the acting halfback, with Marchant hauls him down again. That's 4 tackles gone as Oldham look to move the ball out. 5 tackle signal by the referee, and Oldham not really made a dent on the Bradford defence. Kerry with the little chip through, and Gibson going for the ball, but just couldn't get a hand on that ball. Gibson just stumbling and falling there. It was a nice little kick through by Kerry as Bradford restart from the 25 with the tap. Summers the ball out to Roger Simpson. Simpson with a clear run. He's just got full back to beat. Steps inside him. Salmona comes across. Gets a good tackle there, but good yardage made by Roger Simpson. Wanting to get up and play this ball quickly as Bradford move the ball out. Carl Fairbank dipping the shoulder. There's a good ball back to McGowan. McGowan steps inside. Looks for the support in Summers. Summers gets the ball inside to Hamer. Hamer up to Noble, and finally the final pass just put down, but Bradford keeping that ball moving. Good supporting play, and Brian Noble just not managing to take that final pass as we're into injury time now. Sherritt makes a good break, but a good tackle by Neil Summers. Summers getting back there on his man as Rapati takes the ball across the park, and that ball bobbling about. Ball intercepted there by Daryl Shelford as Salmona looked to go down on that ball, had all the time in the world to get it. Daryl Shelford sneaking in. Out to Carl Fairbank. Quick hands on to Trevor Clark. Bradford inside to Dave Watson. Watson straightening up. Steps out of one. Watson going towards. Gets the ball to Tony Marchant. Marchant gets the try. Breaks the tackle there. So that's another try for Tony Marchant. And Oldham lost the way in this last 15-20 minutes as obviously the fitness of Bradford Northern showed that little bit more, but a gallant display by the second division, second place in that second division, well into injury time now. The score, Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 36, and Tony Marchant, the try scorer, attempting to convert his own try. And Tony Marchant slots a further 2 points, so Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 38. We played some 3.5 minutes of injury time here at the Watersheddings. So the dying minutes of this game is Oldham with the little dart, but that's well taken there by Brian Noble. The little chip kick through, trying to catch the Bradford defence unawares as Marchant on the ball. Looks to get out of the tackle there, but he's brought down. That'll Shelford from the acting halfback. Shelford straightens up, makes 5-6 yards towards that halfway line. Summers, the long ball out to Watson, on to Medley. Medley sells a beautiful dummy. Medley on the charge again. He's got Roger Simpson. Medley the dummy again. Medley scores a super try for Bradford Northern. Two of the biggest dummies we've seen all season as Medley sold one dummy, then sold another, used Roger Simpson as a foil, and the speed of Paul Medley puts him over for a good try there for Bradford Northern. So Tony Marchant possibly with the final kick. We've played some 5 minutes of stoppages in this second half. As Tony Marchant strikes the ball now but pushes that off the outside of the boot. So, Oldham 4, Bradford Northern 42. As Medley gets the applause of the Bradford spectators, I think they're the only ones left in this Oldham ground. The 5,000 crowd thinned out very, very rapidly in this last 10 minutes. So, a good all-round performance by Bradford Northern tonight. The lads were in the right frame of mind, coming over on the bus and in the dressing room beforehand, as Summers takes the ball, looking to drive out at his own 25, runs at the Oldham defence, but the final hooter goes here at the Watershedding, and the Bradford Northern players going down towards the Bradford Northern end to applaud the supporting army of Bradford Northern supporters that have made that trip over the Pennines tonight, and a good all-round performance, and Northern now look forward to meeting Wigan in the semi-final. Performance tonight. I bet you'd love to have been out there.
It would have been, yes. It's been nice to get out there and play with the lads. It's been a long haul back, and it's been frustrating watching them. I mean, I've seen some of the league fixtures, and it was expected tonight. We had a good side, and we've overpowered them in the end. I
think, well, it's just like Peter Fox said tonight. It was team spirit that did it tonight, and some very, very good moves by Bradford Northern, and good backing up.
That's right. It just goes to show the difference between playing First Division and Second Division football week in and week out. No doubt next year Oldham will put something together and the pace will rise for them. But it goes to show the gap. Bradford put a few moves on, they made half a break and they were 3 and 4 men backing up. It goes to show that we've got quality players, we've got pace, that's what we needed. Let's hope that pace now can take us all the way through to Wembley.
So what's the news on your injury now? When you're likely to be back?
I'm hoping to play in the A team tomorrow night, which is Thursday night, and hopefully have half a game just to get back into the swing of things. And if I come through alright, no doubt Peter will have me lined up for probably Sheffield the week after.
Probably not Wakefield on the Friday night, just nurse you back in, but then Sheffield the following Friday.
If everything goes to plan, I mean, who knows, I might not get back in now with the lads playing so well. I think it'd be just nice to get through tomorrow night and get back into the swing of things again. Yeah,
well, of course, that Sheffield match could be off because the semi-finals are due the 13th and the 27th, depending on Rugby League tomorrow, so you may be coming back into that semi-final against Wigan.
It will be, yes, because I've got a lot of things to prove against Wigan. Personally, as well as helping the lads out, I felt it was a disappointment in the final after getting injured, kicking off, and I'm hoping that I can rectify things and take Bradford Northern to Wembley.
That's what we all went. But well done, Derek, and well done to all the boys tonight, and let's see you back in that red, amber and black shirt very, very shortly.
Thank you.